Let us start the problem number 3, wherein the question that has been asked is to find the governing differential equation for the system shown over here. As you can see and as it appears, it is a much complicated system compared to the previous two problems that we have solved. Here there are three masses m1, m2 and m3, and there is a disturbing force F, and mass m1 is connected to the spring K3 with the spring stiffness K3, and then it is connected to both m1 as well as m2. The spring stiffness spring K3 is connected to both m1 and m2. Then there is a spring with stiffness K1, it is connected to only m1, and there is a damper with damping coefficient C1 which is connected to only m1. That means they will be contributing the resisting forces m to resist the displacement of mass m1 x1, but they are not pulled back by mass m2. Why? Because they are not connected to m2. Whereas the spring with stiffness K3, this is connected to both m1 and m2. That is why whenever mass m1 tries to get displaced by a distance x1, K3 is going to offer a spring force, a resisting force of K3 x1 to resist the mass m1 getting displaced in the direction of x1, right? But the mass m2, since K3 is connected to the mass m2 also, it will pull back the K3 and it will not allow the spring to offer the entire spring force of K3 x1. Instead, it will allow the spring with stiffness K3 to offer a spring force of K3 into x1 minus x2. Whereas the entire force of K1 into x1 will be allowed to offer resistance to the mass m1 to stop the displacement x1, because K1 and C1 both of them are connected to the mass only m1. Similarly, m2 is getting displaced by a distance x2, right? And to this m2, what all is connected? To this displacement of x2, the resistance is offered by this spring K3, this damper with the damping coefficient C3, there is a spring with stiffness K4, then there is a spring with stiffness K2, there is a damper with damping coefficient C2. All of them, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 members are connected to the mass m2 to stop, to resist the displacement of x2. So all the 5 members connected, K3, C2, K2, K4 and C3, they will all be offering the resisting forces in the direction opposite to that of the displacement x2. Like that, there is a mass m3 which is trying to get displaced by a distance x3. This is connected with the damper C3 as well as spring of stiffness K4. So these two components will be resisting the movement of the mass m3 by displacement of x3. So these two will be offering the resisting forces opposite to the direction of x3. And here it has not been asked to find the transfer function, it has been asked to find out only the governing differential equation. Whenever only governing differential equation is asked to be find out, what you need to do is, there are two steps. One is write the functional block diagram, then apply the governing law, that is Newton's second law, and then find out the equation. There you will be arriving at the governing differential equation. Only if you are asked to find out the transfer function, then you need to apply the Laplace transformation to the governing differential equation and then arrive at the transfer function. Now, as we have done it to the previous problem, we have to consider one mass at a time, write the functional block diagram, then apply the Newton's second law, find out the governing differential equation, because in this problem we have been asked to find out only the governing differential equation. So consider mass m1, mass m1. So mass m1, if we try to consider, this is the mass m1 what we have written over here. Then this mass m1 is applied with a disturbing force of S as it has been given. Input to the system is what? The disturbing force F. because of which mass m1 will try to get displaced by a distance x1. Now, when F is trying to disturb the mass by displacing it by a distance x1, then what all have come for the rescue of the mass? The spring with stiffness K3, spring with stiffness K1, as well as damper with damping coefficient C1. So, the first resistance to the displacement is been offered by the spring with stiffness K3. What is the force? What is the resisting force offered by this spring K3? It will not be K3 into x1. Instead, since spring is connected to both m1 as well as m2, what happens is, it is the effective resisting force offered by this spring with stiffness K3, it will be equal to K3 into x1 minus x2. Why? Because actually it tries to offer the resisting force of K3 into x1, but as soon as it tries to offer the resisting force of K3 into x1, it will be pulled back by the mass m2 by a force of K3 into x2. Therefore, the effective force offered by this particular spring, it will be K3 into x1 minus x2, and it will be in the direction opposite to the direction of displacement. Therefore, it will be K3 into x1 minus x2. Then, this displacement is not only resisted by the spring K3, it is also resisted by the spring with stiffness K1. So, there is one more component of force which is acting in the direction opposite to that of displacement, that is the force offered by the spring K1. How much it will be? K1 into x1. The entire force of K1 into x1 will be resisting the displacement. Why? Since K1 spring is connected only to the mass m1, it is not connected to the mass m2. That is why the entire force of K1 into x1 will be acting onto the mass in the direction opposite to that of the displacement. That is why it is written with the opposite direction to the displacement. Then there is a damper which is again connected to only m1. So, it is going to offer the velocity component of resisting force, that is C into C1 into x1 dot. Now, even this damper is connected to only mass m1. So, the entire force of C1 into x1 dot will be acting in the direction opposite to that of the displacement. Once we do this, then apply Newton's second law onto this free functional block diagram. The Newton's second law says summation of all the forces acting on this particular mass are going to be equal to the product of mass into acceleration. Now, what is this mass m? It is m1. I have written m1. What is the acceleration? It is the rate of change of velocity. Rate of change of velocity is rate of change of displacement. Here the displacement is x1. Therefore, rate of change of velocity will be dx1 by dt, which is written as x1 dot, and then acceleration is d square x1 by dt square, which is written as x1 double dot. So, that is why m1 into, since acceleration is x1 double dot, m1 into x1 double dot is equal to what? All the forces in the functional block diagram, all the forces acting in the direction of the displacement are to be written with positive sign, and all other forces in the direction opposite to that of the displacement, they must be written with the negative sign. So, m1 x1 double dot will be equal to, see, F is acting in the same direction as the displacement. So, we will retain F with the positive sign. Then, see, this force, the damping force, is acting in the direction opposite to that of displacement, that is by minus C1 into x1 dot have been written here. Then, see, this force K1 x1 is also acting in the direction opposite to that of the displacement, that is why minus K1 x1. Then this force is also acting in the direction opposite to that of the displacement, that is why minus K3 into x1 minus x2. Now, it is just about pulling all the x1 component onto the one side and retaining rest of the component of the equation on the other side. So, m1 x1 double dot plus C1 x1 dot, I will take it on the left hand side, see, minus C1 x1 dot becomes plus C1 x1 dot. Then plus K1 x1, see minus K1 x1 minus K3 x1, both of them are having x1 component. So when you take it on the left hand side, so it will become plus K1 x1 plus K3 x1. So K1 plus K3 becomes common. So K1 plus K3 into x1, that is what I have written here, and rest I have written it onto the right hand side. This is what is the governing differential equation for the mass m1. This equation what we have found out is going to be the governing differential equation for the mass m1. Now let us try to find the governing differential equation for the mass m2 also. See, this is the mass m2. Now m2 is not directly exerted with any disturbing force, that is why we won't write any force. Then m2 is getting displaced by a distance x2. Then m2 to this displacement, what are the resisting forces that are acting on mass m2? The force due to K3 because it is connected to m2, the force due to C3, the force due to K4, the force due to K2 and the force due to C2. So now to this displacement of mass m2, the resisting force offered by the spring K3, it will be in which direction? It has to be in a direction, since this is the resisting force to the displacement, obviously this has to be in the opposite direction to the displacement. Okay, how much it will be? It will be K3 into x2 minus x1, because when the mass m2 tries to get displaced by a distance x2, then K3 into x2 is the resisting component of the force that is being offered. To this resistance, again a resistance, when this spring tries to pull back mass m2, m1 will try to push the spring towards m2 by a force K3 into x1. Therefore, the effective force resisting the displacement of mass m2 due to the spring K3, it will be K3 into x2 minus x1. Similarly, now the damping component, damping force offered by this damper present over here, it will be offering a force to resist the displacement. So it will be acting in the opposite direction. Again, it will be C3 into x2 dot minus x3 dot. Why? Because this C3 is connected to m3 also. So when it tries to push back the mass m2 by a damping force of C3 into x2 dot, m3 will try to pull it back by a force C3 into x3 dot. Therefore, the effective damping force, which is the resisting force due to damper, that will be acting in a direction opposite to the displacement of mass m2, it is going to be C3 into x2 dot minus x3 dot. So C3 into x2 dot minus x3 dot. Then what is the resisting force offered by the spring? Since it is connected to both m2 as well as m3, the spring K4, it is going to offer a resisting force of K4 into x2 minus x3, because it will try to offer a resisting force of K4 into x2 in a direction opposite to the displacement. Then when it tries to do that, m3 will try to pull it back by a force K4 into x3. Therefore, the effective resistance offered by the spring with the stiffness K4, it will be equal to K4 into x2 minus x3. So that is what I have written here, K4 into x2 minus x3. Then see, there is a spring of stiffness K2, it is connected to only m2, it is not connected to m3. So therefore, whenever m2 tries to get displaced by a distance x2, this spring of stiffness K2, it is going to offer the resisting force in the opposite direction, which is equal to K2 into x2 alone. So K2 into x2, K2 into x2. Then there is a damper with the damping coefficient C2, which will again try to resist the movement of the mass m2 by a distance x2 by offering the resisting force of C2 into x2 dot in the direction opposite to that of the displacement. So C2 into x2 dot. Once we have completed the writing of functional block diagram for mass m2, it is again apply Newton's second law, that is sigma F is equal to ma. Once we apply this, what is m? It is m2. What is a? It is x2 double dot. Then that is equal to all the forces in the direction of the displacement must be written with positive sign, and all the forces in the direction opposite to the displacement, they must be written with the negative sign. So since here there is no force acting in the direction of the displacement, so though no component with the positive sign will be written here, only the component with negative sign would come into picture. Therefore, first let us try to write the velocity components. See, this force, this is in the direction opposite to x2, so minus, then minus c3 into x2 dot minus x3 dot, then minus, why? Because this component, this again is in the direction opposite to the displacement x2. So since this is also in the opposite direction of the displacement, minus k3 into x2 minus x1, then minus, again why? Because if we try to write this, this is also in the opposite direction to the displacement, so minus k4 into x2 minus x3, then see, this force is also in the direction opposite to the displacement, so minus k2 x2, then this force is also in the opposite direction to the displacement, so minus c2 x2 dot. This is what has been written here. Then again, now since you are analyzing the mass m2 with the displacement of x2, try to bring all x2 terms onto the left hand side and retain other terms on the right hand side. This is from this equation, this is how we have done it. So lastly we get this particular equation, that is m2 x2 double dot plus c3 into x2 dot plus c2 x2 dot plus k3 x2 plus k4 x2 plus k2 x2 is equal to c3 x3 dot plus k3 x3 plus k4 x3. What we have done here is, it is the same equation, but all x2 terms have been driven onto the left hand side, rest have been retained on the right hand side. This is what is the governing differential equation for the mass m2. Then now there is the third mass also. So consider the mass m3, right? And since directly no force is disturbing here, so F will not be present there, whereas it is trying to get displaced by a distance x3. When it tries to get displaced by a distance x3, then it is connected with a damper with damping coefficient of C3. It is connected with a spring with the spring constant, that is the spring stiffness of K4. So they will try to resist the movement of the mass m3 by distance x3. Whenever the mass tries to get displaced by distance x3, the damper as well as the spring connected over here, they will try to pull it back so that the disturbance could be nullified. So here, as you can see, this is present on the left hand side, we will write it on the left hand side. When m3 tries to get displaced by distance x3, the damper will try to pull it back by offering the resisting force of C3 into x3 dot, but this then m2 will try to push it back, so the effective damping force that is going to resist the disturbance of mass m3 by distance x3, it will be equal to C3 into x3 dot minus x2 dot. So C3 into x3 dot minus x2 dot. Then again there is a spring K4 with the stiffness K4. This is also going to pull back mass m3 whenever it tries to get displaced by distance x3. So K4 into x3 minus x2 will be the effective resisting force offered by the spring K4 whenever m3, the mass m3 tries to get displaced by distance x3. So K4 into x3 minus x2. This is what is the functional block diagram for the mass m3. Then again apply Newton's second law to the mass m3, which says sigma f is equal to ma. So what is mass m? It is m3. What is acceleration for this mass? Since x3 is the displacement, x3 double dot will become the acceleration. Once it is to be finalized, then m3 into x3 dot is equal to since these two forces are in the direction opposite to the displacement, both of them must be written with the negative sign. So, m3 x3 double dot is equal to minus c3 x3 dot minus x2 dot, then minus k4 into x3 minus x2. This is what we have written here. Since we are analyzing the mass 3 with a displacement of x3, we will try to bring all x3 components onto the one side, retain other components onto the left hand side. That is what we have done here. m3 x3 double dot minus c3 x3 dot, if we take it onto the left hand side, it becomes plus c3 x3 dot plus k4 in minus k4 into x3, if you take it on the left hand side, it becomes plus k4 into x3 is equal to whatever was remaining, you just retain it. That gives us the governing differential equation for the mass m3. So, what was asked to be done is, we had to find out the governing differential equation for this particular system. How we could do it? We have considered one mass at a time. Then we wrote functional block diagram for all the three masses, right? Yes. We wrote functional block diagram for all the three masses. See, mass m1, mass m2 for mass m3. Then we applied Newton's second law for each of the functional block diagram. Then we retained all the forces which are in the direction of the displacement on one side with the positive sign, rest with the negative sign, opposite forces in the negative sign. Then we have just brought the, if it is m1 with the displacement x1, then we have brought all x1 terms on one side, retained rest of the terms on the other side. That is what is the governing differential equation for mass m1 over here. Likewise, we have written the functional block diagram for mass m2 as well as mass m3. We have applied Newton's second law for both the masses independently, and then we have derived the governing differential equation independently for each of the masses, that is m1, m2 as well as m3. Let us try to solve one more problem. It is not a spring mass damper system, it is a leverage problem. This is a problem given to us that there is a lever, there is a force applied over here vertically downwards. From the support, it is at a distance of A. Then on the other end, there is a mass, spring and damper system. Then whenever a force is applied, that is force F is applied, then this mass is going to get displaced. This mass is going to get displaced by distance y, which is resisted by the presence of spring as well as the damper with damping coefficient C. For this system, we are asked to find out the governing differential equation as well as the transfer function. Here, since there is only one mass which is getting displaced or disturbed, so we need not be asked with finding what is the transfer function, because there is only one mass. So obviously there is only going to be one displacement, because of which they need not ask like in the previous problems where we had two masses or three masses. So where it was asked to find out x1 of s by f of s or x2 of s by f of s, there is no such thing that is required over here, since there is only one single mass over here. So before we go into finding out the governing differential equation or the transfer function, let us try to just recollect our basics. See, in a leverage mechanism, if there is a lever, say for example, then if we apply a force F1 over here, which is at a distance of x1, then what we will be experiencing is, we will be experiencing, if this is a distance x2, if we are trying to measure the same on the other side of the lever, then, and if we name it as x2, then f1 of x will be equal to f2 of x2. Therefore, if we try to find what is the force f2, then it will be equal to f1 into x1 by x2. This is the force. This is what is applicable. This input is required this input is required to solve this leverage problem. Okay. Now, what is the given problem to us? There is a force F. There is a force F at a distance A from the support acting, and then on the other end there is a mass, there is a spring and the damper present. So, whenever this end of the lever is applied with the force F, then what happens is this mass is going to go up over here in the opposite direction. So, if we have applied the force here vertically downwards, then here the same amount of force, more or less, it will be experienced by the mass m, but in a direction opposite to the direction in which the force was applied over here. So, that means to say if we try to write the functional block diagram of the mass, so consider the mass m. If we consider the mass m and try to write the functional block diagram, then m, then see here there is no mass present, whereas whenever the force is applied over here due to the leverage mechanism, the other side of if this end of the lever tries to go downwards, then obviously this end of the lever is going to go up. So, this tries to go up by distance y1. So, we are applying a force F over here, then the mass m over here, it is going to experience a force of F into, see, it will be like F into A will be equal to F into B. So, therefore, F1 into F1A into F2 into B. So, therefore, F2, if we try to consider this as F2, what force is experienced over here as F2 and this as F1, then F2 will be equal to A divided by B into F1. So, similarly, since there is no F1 in F2 that was named, I have just made it myself so that it becomes easier for us to analyze. So, let me name it as F2, let me name it as F1. So, F2, the force experienced by the mass over here from the downside, it is going to be A by B into F. So, which causes the mass m to get displaced by distance y. Now, the force A divided by B into F has disturbed the mass, because of which the mass is going to get a displacement of y. This is the disturbance. Now, since disturbance is undesirable, what happens is we have connected a spring as well as the damper to eliminate or at least to minimize the disturbance. So, therefore, there is a spring which is offering the resisting force in the direction opposite to the displacement. How much force it is going to offer? K into y. What will be the direction of the resisting force? It will be in the direction opposite to the displacement. Why? Because the job of spring as well as the damper is to resist the disturbance. That is why they must offer the forces in the direction opposite to that of the disturbance or the displacement of the mass. So, that is why I have written here in the direction in which it is opposite to the displacement. Again, along with the spring, there is a damper. Damper also offers a resisting force in the opposite direction to the displacement of the mass. So, this is also going to offer a resisting force in a direction opposite to the displacement of the mass, and the resisting force offered by the damper, it is going to be Cy dot. This completes the functional block diagram. What was the system given to us? A leverage system wherein there is a spring, mass, damper. The force was applied on one end of the lever, because of which the force will be experienced by the mass, but in the opposite direction. But the component of force, to calculate what amount of force will be experienced by the mass, it will be understood by this particular relationship. So, the force experienced over here it will be equal to the distance into the force applied over here divided by the distance at which we are trying to feel it. So that is why I have named this force F as F1. The force experienced that is going to be for the mass as F2. Now if we want to find what is F2, then F1 into A is equal to F2 into B, that is what is the relationship, and F2 is given by obviously A divided by into F1. That is what we have written over here. Now this mass M is going to get disturbed by this particular force, because of which the mass gets displaced by a distance y. Now to this displacement, the resistance is offered by the spring with a spring force of Ky, the damper with a damping force of Cy dot. This is what is the mechanism. Now next step is apply Newton's second law. What does it say? Sigma F is equal to ma. Now what is m? It is the mass. So m is m as it is over here. Then what is a? It is the acceleration. Displacement is y. It means to say dy by dt will be the velocity, d square y by dt square will be the acceleration. So dy by dt can be written as y dot, d square y by dt square can be written as y double dot. So acceleration is nothing but y double dot. It is equal to, write all the, from the functional block diagram, write all the forces in the direction of displacement with positive sign and all the forces in the opposite direction of displacement as with the negative sign. So here A by F, A by B into F, it is the only component which is in the direction of displacement. Rest, the other forces, that is Cy dot, is in the opposite direction to the displacement, so it should be written with negative sign. Then Ky is also in the opposite direction to the displacement, it should be written with negative sign. So therefore bring all the components of y on one side, retain other components on the right hand side itself. So my double dot minus Cy dot, if you take it onto the left hand side it will be positive, minus Ky if you take it onto the left hand side it will be positive. So therefore A divided by B into F will be remaining on the right hand side. This is going to be the governing differential equation. Now thereafter, now apply Laplace transformation. It says y is equal to y of s, y dot will be equal to s into y of s, y double dot it will be equal to s square into y of s, f will be equal to f of s. This is what is the transformation, Laplace transformation, that we are going to take into consideration. Now apply this Laplace transformation onto the governing differential equation. What we get here is m as it is, y double dot is nothing but s square into y of s plus c, and y dot is nothing but s into y of s plus k, it will be k into y of s, that will be equal to a divided by b into f of s. This is what we get. Now in this system, as you can see, we need to find out the transfer function. What is the transfer function? It is the ratio of output to the input. What is the output from the system? Displacement of the mass y. What is the input to the system? It is f. So therefore, in order to get that ratio, what we need to do is take out y of s as common. We will be left with ms square plus cs plus k is equal to a by b into f of s. Now you can cross multiply. Y of s divided by f of s is equal to a by b is remaining on right hand side. So a by b you retain it as it is, divided by this goes to the denominator, ms square plus cs plus k. This is the transfer function that we have found out. This is how even a problem from the leverage mechanism can be analyzed to find out the governing differential equation as well as the transfer function.